to the Policy Innovation Center's commemoration of International Women's Day 2023. We are very happy to be here and lend our voices to the millions of conversation ongoing. To close the gender equality gap, we are aware that the theme for this year's is digital innovation and technology for gender equality, and we thought it very important to have a discussion on how we can increase women and girls' involvement in digital creation, usage, and also regulatory processes, because we understand that without this we cannot have a gender equitable future for all. My name is Ade Kemi Omole. I am the Gender and Inclusion Advisor of the Policy Innovation Center. Here with me are Dr. Sasui Dirisu, the Executive Director of the Policy Innovation Center. I also have here with me Mayokun Adediran. He's a Senior Policy Specialist, and he also leads the Digital Inclusion projects for the Policy Innovation Center. We're glad to have you here. Okay. For those who may not know, Nigeria has a mobile penetration rate of 35%. What this means is that roughly 1 in 3 Nigerians who can access the internet is connected. And of those connected, 29% of women are less likely, to be connected to the internet compared to men. Dr. Sasui, please, can you just tell us what are the implications of this gender gap in digital access for women and girls? And how do you think this can be bridged?
Thank you. So just to start, why is it important? Why is mobile penetration important for women? Why is digital access important for women? And first of all, when we think about the potential benefits of putting a mobile phone in a woman's hands, so we think around what that means for her business, to be able to sell her products, scale her business, sitting from, in her home or in her community. She has a wide range of customers that she can sell to. Also to be able to purchase raw materials that she needs for her business. Think around what it can do for healthcare access. So women have opportunities to learn about family planning advice, contraception, issues relating to child spacing, even get general health advice, for themselves. And then think about the bigger opportunities to, for example, report gender-based violence, be better connected to the world, improve their confidence. So these are all some of the benefits of, ensuring that we improve mobile access for women. Unfortunately, there are lots of reasons why this is not so. First of all, social norms around, women having, mobile phones, because there are gender norms that, people feel that sometimes the woman has a phone, she may use it to do other things that are not culturally acceptable. And then also the barriers around digital IDs. For a woman to have a SIM card, she has to have some level of a digital ID, and then all the other issues around affordability and all that. But if we can improve access to digital mobile phones, mobile access for women, then we have a lot of benefits from being able to improve health outcomes, improve food security. When women are better empowered, then they can also, get information about, improving access of their children to education, also improving, their own access. So the starting point with bridging this gap would be to socialize the communities, male engagement, socialize, communities more to see the benefits of women having mobile phones. So addressing the barriers, the gender barriers, that currently prevent that from happening. Then it's important to also socialize women more to the importance of having digital IDs. That's something that is important. Then as part of, as part of conversations around financial inclusion, women empowerment, also incorporating digital access, as part of some of the benefits of some of these women empowerment programs. And of course, policy. We create an enabling policy environment that makes it easier for women to get digital IDs and also to get mobile phones.
All right, thank you so much for that insightful explanation. Just moving on. How do you think that this gender gap in digital access impact policies like the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say that the national and the subnational governments have done a tremendous work in terms of creating policies to address digital divide and all of that. However, there's a lot to be done in terms of gender equality. So what that means is that during policy cycle, you need to have in mind or mainstream gender, and what that means is think about gender from the scratch, and you have to do something like use an intersectionality approach to ensure that gender issues are really captured. So what that means again is that looking at the policy cycle, you have to probably say, for instance, collect gender disaggregated data to be able to really capture the real issues and concerns of women when it comes to the use of digital tools, for instance. And again, also you need to also think in terms of target you need to target interventions that are specific to women, more or less like thinking around how can, for instance, the issue of broadband penetration and access, how can we have like an intervention that is targeted at women and girls who are more or less at the receiving end of having access to digital tools and all of that. Then you also need to think at the policy cycle level. You also need to eh, think about education. How can we, which is a very powerful tool of bridging the digital gender gap. So you need to think about how can we use education to bridge digital gender gap. So these are some of the thinkings, more or less like having in mind the marginalized groups from the start of policy creation, policy formulation, even to the point of policy implementation.
Thank you so much. That's very enlightening. We're going to move on to our next topic. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, women continue to be a minority in STEM-related education, accounting for only 28% of engineering and technology graduates. We all know that STEM-related education is a major pathway to having a career in the digital ecosystem. It has been by 2050, 75% of jobs will be related to a STEM domain. Dr. Sassi, can you please tell us what are the behavioral factors that contribute to women's low participation in STEM fields, particularly in Nigeria?
Thank you. So when we think around low participation of women in STEM, we always start from the elephant in the room, and that's stereotypes. So um, women have been socialized to more traditional roles, and over time, it's very difficult to see women, as engineers or as mathematicians or as scientists. And some of these stereotypes also have been so deeply embedded that the natural choice, when people begin to reflect on what a woman can do, sometimes is even limited to be restricted to jobs, opportunities that are considered more, in line with being a female. So maybe going to teach or becoming a nurse, as the case may be. So those stereotypes are one of the reasons why we see low participation of women in STEM. Some other factors, we think around, all the factors that contribute, for example, to early marriage, child marriage. These are still norms, around the fact that a girl, as she becomes a teenager, should be prepared for marriage. And so the parents will think about continuing the pathways for boys to get education, or for the girls, maybe continuing their pathways, they need to get married early. Also, because girls sometimes are seen as, contributing to that value chain to support their homes, because when they get married, for example, the suitors would pay some bride price or something. So it's still really around, the behaviors or the normative factors that view women, are subjugated to men. Also, we have to think about, issues relating to how, society views women. So going beyond the household, beyond the community, is that general perspective of society that women would end up maybe becoming housewives, and so they don't have to do more intense, ambitious things. But some other factors that we have to talk about are, issues relating to lack of mentorship, lack of role models. So if we don't have women who are out there, setting that standard, breaking the stereotypes and saying I can do it so you can come behind me, then if we don't have those role models, then it's also difficult to socialize girls, into STEM careers. So going forward and thinking about solutions, it starts from really creating access to information for parents, for communities, that breaks that stereotypes that girls cannot advance, because sometimes it looks like it starts and ends with in normative thinking, but sometimes it seems, when you have conversations, these things sometimes extend even into questioning the adequacy or the competence. And it's never about competence. Girls have been known to go into these domains and excel. So it's really providing access, to information, using examples, using role models in society, providing mentorship for young girls, but also socializing girls from a very early age that a career in STEM is possible, is doable, and just helping them to see that they can achieve their full potential.
Thank you so much for that perspective, the power of socialization. Maya, please, you're going to our next question, help us address the next question. So you realize that the gender disparity, like discussed in technology creation and usage, already suggests that existing technology may perpetuate inequality because the design and regulatory process will not be inclusive. And we see this with a lot of the incidents we see on social media, where a lot of gender-based violence issue occur there. So what do you think the government can do to ensure that technology is used safely and also in ways that respect the human rights of women and girls?
Thank you. So I just want to say that gender equality is not going to be an incidental, arrival at it. We're not going to accidentally arrive at the destination of gender equality. It's going to be a direct, it's going to be a direct output of thought processes, procedures, plans that center the rights and needs of women, at the center of policy and program design. And so it comes back to the same thing. In designing apps, softwares, digital tools, the question needs to be asked, how does this affect the gender? So how does this affect a woman? How does this affect a man? And in asking those questions, then we can now create opportunities to ensure, privacy, safety, security, reporting, addressing issues, flagging of, and even pilots, of tools. By even piloting tools, we can anticipate what sort of harm. Because we've had instances where people get cyberbullied, commit suicide, decide not to use some tools again, or stay out of the digital space completely. So by being more intentional in our design, by piloting tools, anticipating what the issues are and addressing them as part of program design, not as part of rollout, then we're able to, think far ahead of issues that would, harm women and girls, and, address them as they come.
Thank you so much. This has been very insightful, and I'm very hopeful, and I'm sure we are as well, that with conversations like this and actions being taken, we will get to that point of gender equality. To address this gender equality gap, the Policy Innovation Center has created a gender and development course, and in partnership with the Center for Gender and Social Policy Studies, Obafemi Awolowo, in addition to other faculty members, to strengthen the capacity of of developmental practitioners, government officials, just to ensure that gender is appropriately mainstreamed. We have a a session coming up from April 24th to April 28th, 2023. Reach out to us on any of our platforms to register. Thank you.